Rev up your engines!
Well, yes, used cars have reached the height of insanity. There is a used car center wherever area code 432 is. They're selling a 1996 Ford Explorer with rust all over the place for $7,000. The thing's almost got 300,000 miles on it. It's rusty, and to add insult to injury, this is the hilarious part. They say the retail price is 10 grand and it's only 7 on the internet. They're saving you 3. But then it's got a little disclaimer on the bottom. Not only do they want 7 grand for this Explorer, it's almost 300,000 rusty, got dents and stuff on it, but they have a little asterisk and it says, plus taxes, tags, freight, and $499 dealer dock fee in addition to sales price. This is unbelievable that some old clunker like that, they're asking that kind of money for it. And they'll probably get it because people have lost their minds when it comes to the price of used cars now. I had a customer buy one of those things. They paid $500 for it a few years ago. And it didn't have almost 300,000 miles. It only had like 180 on it. And the transmission went out about a year later too. So they just make up stuff. And they add all this price on, selling you this worn out old truck for all that money. A $499 dealer processing fee. And hilarious stuff in a picture on the internet is a sales guy with a white beard and hair. He's got his fingers up in the air smiling. Yeah, I'd be smiling if I could sell that pile of junk for that kind of money. So beware, because people have totally lost their mind to the prices of used vehicles now. But thanks for sending me it in the email. I love to see these ridiculous things that people are trying to pull. KJ908 says, my '09 Civic was flooded out. I have to get another car. I'm looking at a 2007 Acura RL with 54,000 miles for $12,800, or 2012 Infiniti, $65,000 with $13,000. The Acura Uno is a better vehicle. It's not going to break down. The Infinitis are endless money pits as they age. Now, the Infinity's only got 63,000 miles on it, but it's 10 years old. The Infinitis do not hold up like Acuras, which are Hondas. The Hondas are much better made vehicles. I would not buy that anyways. I wouldn't care what the mileage is on an Infiniti. I just would not buy the vehicle. The Acuras, they're well made. I've had people buy those RLs used, 180,000 miles, they're still running perfectly fine. That's a good one. Get the Acura. But as I always say, have a mechanic like me check it out before you buy, because you never know what shape a used vehicle's in. You have no idea. Make sure a mechanic checks it out. Lady the other day come all the way from the Finger Lakes, and I checked out her used Lexus, and I said, what a great deal. Well, she spent a lot of time watching my videos, had 3 mechanics check it out, and they all said it was good. It was an excellent vehicle. But she had it checked out by 3 different guys before she bought it. She got it for like 11 grand, got a great deal, beautiful car. There's nothing wrong with getting them used, but you got to get them checked out because they're so complex. There's a lot of hidden stuff could be in there. Bob563 says, why is my 2007 Pontiac Vibe running poorly? I got an automatic with a 1.8 engine, 148,000 miles. It was running perfect, but I decided to replace the valve cover gasket, intake gasket, spark plugs, throttle body gasket, cleaned the airflow sensor, cleaned the throttle. And now it is idling rough. Well, hopefully you didn't screw anything up. Those intake manifolds, you got to take the intake off, change the gasket. There's all kinds of things. You could have left a vacuum line off. You could have cracked the thing of plastic. You could have something not plugged in right. Check all that, of course. But if you did it all right, especially since you cleaned the mass airflow sensor, the computer's got to recalibrate itself. And basically, you can try this first. Start the car up and then rev it to about 2,000 RPM for 5 minutes in a driveway and park, right? With nothing turned on. Do the same thing for 5 minutes with the AC turned on full blast. AC and heat, if you want to mix them, it doesn't really matter. Then take it for a ride. You might find the idle will go back to normal. Now, if it's getting better, just give it a few days because the computer has to equilibrate itself and decide to, oh, how is this after the cleaning? How are the angles set now? And then it should run perfectly fine. Now, if it never does, after doing all of that, then something you did messed up. Something's leaking, gaskets may be on crooked, you unplug something, or a vacuum line is cracked, or an electronic sensor was damaged when you did the work. There's a lot of stuff in there when you take the intake off. It's normal for it to idle weird when you do all that work because it's got to be recalibrated. Alrighty, Toyota now has unveiled their first electric car. It's going to be an electric SUV. And this is kind of interesting because Subaru's announcing that they're having an electric vehicle. It's basically the same vehicle. They got this deal going where they're sharing all their technology. Toyota owns a certain percentage of Subaru. Subaru's got some Toyota stock blocking the deal. Who knows? They got so many crazy deals going on. But that's probably one of the reasons that Toyota's selling their little sports car, which is just a rebadged Subaru, right? Now, Subaru's going to be selling an electric car in the future that's made by Toyota. Now, deliveries, they say, are going to start next year in Japan. It's the first Toyota that's going to use a battery electric vehicle platform and be available globally all over the planet. The BZ stands for Beyond Zero. Well, we all got hype going on here. Beyond Zero. Well, anything over nothing is Beyond Zero, right? It's got a 71.4 kilowatt battery pack. They claim the range is going to be 310 miles for the front wheel and 260 for the all-wheel drive version. And they say that with a fast charger, it can charge up to 80% in 30 minutes. So you get 80% of the range in 30 minutes. That's not bad, but still Americans don't want to sit and wait half an hour to fill up their car. And it's going to be capable of bi-directional charging, so you lose power at your house, you can plug it in. They're all, feeding upon the stuff that they see works. Coming in later with electric vehicles, maybe not a bad move, because I don't care what these fools think. It's going to be a long time before electric cars become the norm in the United States. Where's the electricity coming from, right? And it's cheap now, right? Oh, it's cheap to charge your car with electricity. Guess what's going to happen if it becomes rather popular? The roads are crappy enough, right? Our roads are paid for by road tax when you buy gasoline, right? Guess what? They're going to start putting road tax on the electric chargers too, because you're going to have to pay for the roads you're driving on electric vehicles, so they're going to start taxing them somehow, and obviously they'll tax the fuel, which in this case is electricity. I just hope that those evil swine politicians don't come up with the idea, well, we'll just raise your bill at home because you're using your home charger, and then people don't even have electric cars will be paying some stupid tax for electric cars that they're not even driving around. We know how the government works, or in the case of most of the time, how the government does not work. Now this electric car is supposedly going to come with an option of a solar charging roof that can add up to 1,800 kilometers a year. So that's like, 1,000 miles a year. But depending on how much sun you have in the area and stuff like that, I wouldn't count on that. And they're even messing around with the steering yoke, kind of like the fancy Tesla has. Only theirs turns to a smaller degree, so you don't have to worry about whipping it around. You don't have to whip it around, so you get stuck on the yoke part. That's the advantage. If you come by later, you can see what things went wrong and improve upon them. And this vehicle is expected to come out in mid-2022. Toyota's first electric car. They're going slow, probably a smart move, because, like I say, it's going to be a long time before these things get normal, if ever, because of the cost, the infrastructure that does not exist. But Toyota finally decided to get into the fray. Maybe not a bad idea to start now and work your way through instead of jumping on the bandwagon with crappy machines that aren't built right, that have problems, that start on fire. Smart move to wait. Well, if you think electric cars are taking over and there are not going to be any more gasoline cars out, well, Toyota seems to disagree. They're investing $461 million to upgrade their factory in Kentucky, and they're going to give 1,400 permanent jobs to workers there. And they're using it to expand their engine operations. These are gasoline engines, not electric ones. They're mainly wanting to expand on their 2.4-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine that they're going to use in all kinds of their vehicles. They say that it's also going to go for future things, and one of them is not batteries, but fuel cells. That complex in Kentucky is going to start building fuel cell modules for use in hydrogen-fueled big trucks, heavy-duty vehicles starting in 2023. Even Bill Gates admitted. Battery electric big commercial vehicles? Nah. The power, the weight, the loss of efficiency, the more you pull, you got to get bigger batteries that cost more, that weigh more, they take forever to charge. It's going to be hydrogen fuel cells, generally for the big trucks. And Toyota's going to be making those there, too, because they realize, hey, if things are going to be electrified, probably the best thing to do is the big commercial trucks, where they have a lot of money to invest. They can have their stations all over with hydrogen in them, where they can fill them up pretty fast and not have to lose downtime because they're waiting hours and hours for these giant batteries to charge up and worry about the fires that happen when you charge the lithium batteries too much. Worried there's not enough lithium. There's plenty of hydrogen on the planet. Water is H2O, right? They're making more on hydrogen fuel cells than they are in pure battery electric cars, which is probably a good thing because, like I say, battery electric cars may be tiny little ones. A lot of people have tiny little ones in the city. Great. It's great for that. Not for cross-country stuff. Hydrogen fuel cells are that. Now, for regular cars, where's the hydrogen fuel cell infrastructure going to come from? Yeah, that's just like electricity. The infrastructure doesn't exist, and it's going to be a massive pain. People I know in California had gotten that Toyota hydrogen fuel cell car, the Mirai, and they said it was one of the best cars we got, but they got rid of them because there's no place to buy hydrogen hardly anywhere, right? But commercially, it's a different story. Those guys can have their own stations, their own warehouses. Don't be worrying that your gasoline car is going to be obsolete soon. Toyota's still putting a bunch of money into their gasoline engines and fuel cells for big commercial trucks. Not for regular cars, for big commercial trucks. That makes a lot more sense. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.